Hey there, I'm glad you're here at Seaver Shoots, back with another video today. We are going to be talking about what has become my favorite optic. I have dabbled with LPVOs and a couple different sights that are of this style, and this one, the Holoson 512C, has definitely been my favorite. I've had it for just over 2 years, and this is actually an updated review from the one that I did on this site 2 years ago. So after many rounds and beating the holy crap out of it, this is your updated review on the Holoson 512C. Before we get into that, I want to talk about some affiliates really quickly. The first one is Lem's shoes. I love Lem's shoes. They are barefoot style, wide toe box, very light, minimalistic style shoes. They make a whole bunch of different kinds, from boots to casual shoes to shoes like this that can function as a daily driver, or as what I'm using it for, a training type shoe. This specific model is the Primal 2. Love the color. It comes in a couple other ones. Another one that I like a lot is the green. Really nice grippy sole, that zero drop, extremely stupid flexible like most barefoot shoes, and it won't break the bank either. If you are interested in Lem's shoes and getting your feet to do for you what they are supposed to be doing, then head down to the link in the description and feel free to go and shop around. I also have a couple of reviews on Lem's boots as well up on the channel, so you can go and look for those. The next affiliate that I want to talk about is Axle Hearing Protection. This is my favorite pair of Ear Pro that I've gotten from Axle. It is their GS Extreme 2.0s. These are the Sig Sauer version specifically, and I am a Sig guy, so I'm a big fan. These are the best Ear Pro that I've ever used because they are extremely lightweight. They reduce decibels by 29, which is better than a majority of the other Ear Pro out there. Extremely lightweight, and they really disappear once you throw them on and stick them in your ears. They disappear behind your head. They are Bluetooth capable. They are also active listening, and you can use them for just about anything. Great battery life. If you're interested in any of the offerings from Axle, this one specifically, obviously my favorite, then head down to the link in the description. You can shop around. They're almost always doing a sale that's up to as much as 50% off. But if you need a discount code of some kind because they're not doing a deal, then use Seaver Shoots at checkout, and that'll save you 15%. The last affiliate I want to talk about is Dangerous But Good, which is my favorite apparel company. Their mantra is faith, family, freedom, and they plaster that on all of their clothing. So if that mantra happens to jive with you, then head down to the link in the description and shop around on the Dangerous But Good website. Obviously, they do t-shirts that are super awesome. They also do hoodies that, if you watch my channel, you've seen me wearing one of them that I absolutely love. They do waterproof jackets. They do kids' clothes, hats, everything that you need from an apparel standpoint, and it allows you to wear your virtues and your values and let other people see what those are. So Dangerous But Good. Use Seaver Shoots to save 10% at checkout. Now let's get into the video. This video is going to have some controversy in it, which should be fun. So hang on for that until the end when we start to talk about how this thing is made in China and blah, 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 blah. But until then, I'm going to take this optic and I'm going to compare it to some other optics that are very much in the same vein. Now, while I don't own any of these other optics, I have shot through them, and I have buddies who have lent their opinions to me and their experiences to me about it. So I'm going to speak as if I know a lot about these from experience. I have a little shooting experience and a lot of opinion from friends who you know, they are diehards about these companies and these optics. So don't discount those opinions. But I'm going to talk about these optics in 4 areas. The first one is going to be durability, the second one, battery life, then versatility, and the last one is going to be price. So the optics that we are kind of talking about in the same vein as the Holoson 512C today are the EOTech EXPS series, the Vortex UH series, they have a version 1 and 2, and the Leupold LCO. So let's start with durability, which I think is a wash. I've had friends who have had their optics for as long as I've had this one. I've had this one for 2 years, which is why we're doing this updated review after 2 years of abuse. And they say that it holds up about the same. We've done some comparisons as far as wear and tear, and they all look pretty torn up because we don't have any safe queens around here. But after slamming this thing into rocks and car doors and dropping it on the ground and rolling around in the dirt with it, it's held up great. No issues. That's why I wanted to go with an all-enclosed system, and that's one of the huge advantages of these kinds of optics is we got a back lens and we got a front lens, and it's filled with nitric oxide or whatever gas that keeps it from fogging and keeps it from having any kind of environmental related issues. Now, I will say some people have reported that they've taken this guy out into cold temperatures and seen issues and hot temperatures and seen issues. I live in Utah, so I get both of those. This has seen 2 winters, plenty of range days that were below 0, not below freezing, below 0. And it's held up just fine for me, and it's seen plenty of days over 100 degrees and held up just fine. So I think that it's got the durability that it needs in comparison with these other optics that my friends love to run. Let's get into battery life, and we will go into some specific numbers. This is a very important one for me specifically because I want to make sure that every time I grab my firearm, my optic is going to be online without any issues. So starting with the EOTech, it is rated for 1,000 hours, but most people will tell you it gets around 600, and that's going to be normal for all of these. There's going to be a rating from the company and then an actual battery life. So moving on to the Vortex UH1, they are rated for 1,500 hours, so a little bit better than the EOTech, and really what you're going to get out of that is about 1,000 hours. Moving on from there to the LCO, you're going to get 50,000 hours of battery life. So that is like, I think it's 5.7 years technically, but most people will tell you you'll get around 2 to 3 of battery life with one of those guys. And that's important because it matches the 512C 50,000 hours, except the solar panels up here have been known to lengthen that lifespan out just a little bit. So it's rated for 50,000. You're probably going to get that same 2 to 3 years, maybe 3 to 4 with the help of those solar panels. I have had 1 battery in this guy for the last 2 years, and we're not to dead yet, so we're still going. And I will eventually do a 3rd review of some kind with this because there's going to be a magnifier back here at some point, and I'd love to do a review on how this magnifies specifically because you don't see it a whole lot. And at that point, maybe we will have had to change a battery out. We'll see. Still going strong. So this thing, good to go on the battery life, especially compared to our lovely EXPS and our lovely UH1. Next is versatility, and I'm going to go back to the battery life and give that piece of versatility to this guy because of the fact that it can technically run just off the solar. It's not great. You can't get max brightness out of it, so it does have its limitations, but it can run off of no battery in it at all if it ever had to. So definitely usable, but not ideal. The next piece of versatility that I'm going to talk about when it comes to this specific optic is its reticle choices. So we have the Donut of Death in here because that is my favorite reticle for long guns. But you can also do the 2 MOA dot, just the dot by itself, or just the circle by itself, which I think is a 32 MOA circle. And a lot of people are probably thinking, why would I ever need that? And I think it can actually be pretty helpful if you understand how to use it. If your 0 is good and on the dot that you're no longer using, then all you got to do is get your target inside of that circle up close. That would be especially easy, because from just a couple of yards away, the circle is going to look about this big on someone's chest. So if you got that anywhere in here, that circle, then you're going to make your hits. But I think it would actually be really viable on shotguns, where you really don't have to aim precisely, and getting something in that circle would actually maybe account for the spread as that shotgun blast leaves your muzzle. So I love the versatility of that. I'm pretty sure that the other optics are all stuck with whatever reticle they have, whether it's a dot or a circle dot. I think they have options between the versions. You can get an EOTech that has the circle dot, you can get an EOTech that just has the dot, but you can't get one that has both. So that's going to have me give the versatility to this guy. Now, moving on to price, this is where there's going to be another big dramatic difference. This is our last thing that we're going to talk about when it comes to these optics. Price is largely different. So starting with the EOTech, which is the most expensive, you're going to average $750 for one of those units, for one of the newer ones. You might be able to find it for a little less or a little more, but that's about the average. Moving on to the Vortex UH1, same idea with the average. The average is going to be around $600. Might find it for less or more, but $600 is around what you're going to end up paying for the Vortex UH1. And then the LCO is a little controversial, because the average price of one of those is around $700 if you can find one. They have been discontinued, which is kind of sad, because in my opinion, the logical backup to this, if you don't want to buy Chinese, is going to be the Leupold LCO, but you can't get it anymore. If you can find someone who's selling one, they're probably going to sell it to you at a premium. So don't expect to get it for its normal average price. It's probably not going to happen if you can find one at all. I don't know if Leupold has any plans to replace it. They have not said. I have not found anything that says they plan on replacing it. And so all the people who have one are very happy with theirs. And if you want one, kind of sucks for you. You might just have to wait, or you just might be out of luck. But there is the 512C, which comes in at an average of $350. I actually got mine for $290 in a private sale from a guy who had had it for about 6 months or so. I promptly put a new battery in so that I could figure out what the battery life of this thing actually is, and 2 years later, here we are. So significantly less expensive, and obviously that's going to be because it's from China, manufactured in China. It's going to be cheaper for Holoson to make sights there. Now, this is where the juicy controversy you've been waiting for comes in, because the argument usually comes down to American versus Chinese. Who do you want to support? Do you want to support American businesses? Of course I do, if their performance can match up to the competition, which currently, in one of the most important areas for me, which is battery life, ours here in America do not touch them, unfortunately. I do not understand why EOTech can't figure out how to make their EXPSs last for longer than 1,000 hours. That seems like a no-brainer. Again, I want to be able to grab this thing and it turns on and it's good to go, and I don't have to worry about the battery life except for every maybe 2 or 3 years. The fact that I have friends who have reported to me that their EOTech dies in a week, they go through a battery every week from dry fire, that's not okay with me. And I hear similar things with the UH1, even though it's not as popular, it still dies just as quickly. So there's my issue. It's not that I don't want to support American businesses, even if they were more expensive. You know, I would pay for an EOTech that's $750 if the battery life was there and some of the other versatile features that I want out of it. But for whatever reason, we don't seem to want to innovate. And I don't know why that is. And hopefully we'll catch up eventually. But for now, there are other options out there. And I'm going to go with the one that checks all the boxes for me. It misses one box, and that is American made. And I'm not going to draw my line in the sand there when it comes to something that is a life-saving device and that my life might depend on at some point. I would rather have that battery life and the bonus of not having to spend as much money. But I get all the other features that I want, so it's hard to stay away from. So obviously, I highly recommend the 512C. If I didn't, I probably wouldn't have it anymore. I would have moved on to something else. I'm super excited to see what happens when I throw a magnifier behind it and see if it makes it even that much more versatile. And I'm excited to see how much further this battery goes that I have been on. Guys, if you liked this video, I'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the affiliates that I talked about at the beginning of the video, head down to the links in the description and shop around for something pretty. And as always, I will catch you later.